Ready for another deep dive? Today we're getting up close and personal with your notes. Yeah, those notes you shared on self-discovery and the law of attraction.
Ooh, diving into the inner workings of someone's mind. You know me, I'm always up for that.
Right. It's like we're unlocking a treasure chest full of thoughts and feelings, and hopefully by the end, we'll have unearthed some real gems of insight.
I like that. And speaking of gems, let's talk about that $10,000 a month you mentioned. That's a pretty significant financial goal you hit.
It is, but what really jumped out at me reading through everything was this kind of disconnect. Like, you achieved this amazing thing, but still wrestled with a lot of self-doubt,
Almost like you were questioning if you deserved it.
right? I saw that too.
It's there throughout your notes.
Mm.
So we've got this tangible success story, this measurable achievement, but then woven throughout everything else is this feeling of almost like not being good enough. Exactly. And that's something I think a lot of people can relate to. We set these external markers for ourselves, these
Yeah.
milestones of success, and we think, okay, once I hit that magic number, then I'll finally believe in myself.
But then often we hit those milestones.
And a self-doubt whispers in our ear.
Hmm.
Was it just luck? A fluke?
Like it wasn't really us or we didn't really earn it. So how do we break free of that cycle? Because clearly you've been exploring the law of attraction. You even mentioned Abraham Hicks, so you've dipped your toes into those teachings.
You dove in head first. You were clearly immersed in it.
Right. But then there's this sense of almost disillusionment, this feeling of trying and failing, as you put it.
It's like being handed this incredible toolbox, all these shiny new tools for manifestation. But then you get out there, and it's not as easy as they made it sound in the book, is it?
So it's not just a matter of wishing upon a star and poof, your dreams magically manifest.
Unfortunately, no. It's a little more nuanced than that.
Okay, so where does that leave us? We're trying to reconcile this achievement with the self-doubt, the exploration of manifestation, with the feeling of maybe not quite getting there.
And this is where we get to dig into the foundation. Because what I often see, especially with people new to the law of attraction, is this desire to skip ahead to the good stuff, to jump right to the manifestation part.
Right.
But you can't build a house on shaky ground, can you? Meaning sometimes we've got to do a little excavation. We have to look at those deep-seated beliefs, those limiting thought patterns that might be lurking beneath the surface. It's like we were saying, you've got the blueprint, this vision of what you want to create, but the foundation might need a little reinforcing.
Because you can't manifest your dream life if you don't believe you're worthy of it, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And that's where those deep-rooted beliefs come into play. You know, you talked about achieving that $10,000 a month goal.
Right.
And yet there's still this underlying current of self-doubt. And to me, that suggests there might be some subconscious programming going on.
Subconscious programming.
Yeah, like old tapes playing in the background. Messages you might not even be consciously aware of, but they're whispering things like, you're not good enough, or you don't deserve this.
It's like an inner saboteur working against you even when you're trying to level up.
Yes, a perfect way to put it. And those subconscious beliefs, they can be tricky because they often operate below the level of our conscious awareness.
So we don't even realize they're there, but they're still impacting us.
Exactly. They can influence our thoughts, our feelings, even our behaviors in ways we don't even realize. And this is where it gets even more complex, because you also mentioned in your notes some struggles with mental health, potentially bipolar disorder.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something there I've been trying to unpack.
And it's so important to bring that into the conversation, because mental health challenges, especially something like bipolar disorder, where you have these fluctuations in mood and energy levels, it can really add another layer of complexity to the whole manifestation process.
So it's like trying to manifest your dreams while riding a roller coaster.
That's a great way to put it. Because think about it, during a manic episode, you might feel this surge of energy, this incredible sense of confidence and capability. Maybe that's when those big, ambitious goals start flowing.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
But then, as with any roller coaster, what goes up must come down. And when that manic energy inevitably levels out, you might find yourself questioning your ability to achieve those goals.
And then the self-doubt creeps back in.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it becomes this self-perpetuating cycle. So what's the antidote? How do we navigate this?
Well, I'm hoping you're going to tell me.
It starts with self-compassion. It's about recognizing that you're doing the best you can with the tools and resources you have in any given moment.
So giving yourself a break.
In a way, yes. But more than that, it's about really understanding how your mental health might be impacting your journey with the law of attraction. It's about recognizing those patterns, those fluctuations, and meeting yourself with kindness and understanding.
So much of this seems to come back to self-acceptance, right? And I noticed in your notes you talk about this desire for external validation too. Almost like hoping if other people get it, if they recognize your work, then maybe, just maybe.
Then the inner critic might finally pipe down.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a common trap we fall into. Like, we're waiting for someone else to give us permission to believe in ourselves, to tell us we're worthy.
It's that whole idea of seeking external validation. And you're right, I definitely see that in my own life.
But what if we flip the script? What if, instead of seeking validation outward, we turned inward?
You mean like becoming our own source of validation?
Exactly. What if the most important relationship we cultivate is the one we have with ourselves?
So it's not about silencing that inner critic altogether. It's about maybe befriending it.
Beautiful. Befriending it, understanding it, because often that inner critic is just trying to protect us, even if it's coming from a place of fear.
And then from that place of self-acceptance, maybe that's where the real magic happens.
It's everything. Because when you believe in yourself, when you know your worth, you no longer need someone else to tell you you're good enough. And from that foundation, anything is possible.
And then maybe those external connections, they become less about seeking validation and more about
Shared experience,
Oh, yeah.
genuine connection.
Exactly. Because you're coming from a place of wholeness already. And that brings me to something else that stood out in your notes, that idea for a 12-week project. You even mentioned breaking it down into 12 distinct pieces or chapters. Tell me more about that.
There's something powerful about structure, isn't there? Especially when we're talking about something as personal and potentially chaotic as self-discovery.
It's like creating a container, a framework for all that creative energy.
Precisely. And the fact that you're drawn to this idea of 12 pieces or chapters, it suggests a desire for not just exploration, but expression.
So taking those inner discoveries and translating them into something tangible.
Yeah, because it's one thing to have these realizations, these aha moments swirling around in your head. It's another thing entirely to give them form, to birth them into the world.
And isn't that what the law of attraction is all about? Aligning your energy with your desires and then taking action.
Exactly. It's not enough to just think it. You have to feel it, believe it, and then crucially act on it.
Wow. So we've covered so much ground in this deep dive, from self-doubt to subconscious programming, mental health, self-compassion, external validation, and now creative expression.
And through it all, this incredible journey you've been on, these notes you so bravely shared, they paint such a vivid picture of someone who is actively seeking, questioning, and ultimately striving to create a life that feels truly aligned.
And that's something we can all relate to, right? This ongoing process of self-discovery, of peeling back the layers, of figuring out who we are and what we're here to do.
Absolutely. And if there's one thing I hope you take away from this deep dive, from this exploration of your own inner landscape, it's this. You are not alone in this journey. We are all navigating these waters together.
So beautifully said. It's been such a pleasure to dive into this with you. And to all of you listening, we'd love to know what resonated with you most in this deep dive. What insights will you carry with you? Share your thoughts. And until next time,